Siyata Dishmaya, we're going to continue in Neshama Neshima. Everybody, quick exhale. Inhale through the nose, deep into the diaphragm, slowly. Let it out of the mouth gently, in a sigh. One more. Hold the breath. Okay. Mizat Hashem, we're going to be learning today, still in Etz Chaim, the chapter on all the different rabbis and what they had to say about breathing. And we are in the section on Rebbe Nachman of Breslev. And we've talked about Likutei Moharan, we talked about Sichot Haran, we talked about Sefer HaMidot. And now we're going to touch on Sipurei Masiyot. Sipurei Masiyot are the stories of Rebbe Nachman. Rebbe Nachman, after giving over 700 plus teachings, at a certain point in his life, said that the teachings weren't doing it. They didn't have the outcome that he really expected, and from now I'm going to start telling stories. Rebbe Nachman gave over 13 main stories that are called Sipurei Masiyot Mishanim Kadmoniot. Stories of action from ancient days, ancient years. And these stories arouse people from their slumber, unlike the world, which usually they tell stories to put people into slumber, right? Bedtime stories to get a kid to sleep. Rebbe Nachman said, my stories wake you up, they don't put you to sleep. Highly recommended to order the Ancient Tales of Rebbe Nachman in English on Amazon. A couple of dollars, you get an amazing life-changing book. Try to avoid any commentaries until you've actually read the full story by yourself a few times, and then only then get into commentaries, if at all, right? And B'ezrat Hashem, let's see how Sipurei Masiyot connects to breathing. The first story is called the story of the lost princess. And her father, the father had 6 sons and 1 daughter, and he loved his daughter so much, and they played all the time. And one time he let some bad negative word come out of his mouth, that the not good one should take you. That's what the king said to his daughter. May the not good one take you. And because of that, she completely disappeared and vanished. And the viceroy, the second in command to the king, the king's assistant, said, so much pain that he saw. This connects, by the way, open your eyes to the class we had in B'yam Derkecha today, a few minutes ago. It's also connected, everything. It's a mashal for what we were saying earlier about the Shekhinah being in Galut, right? But if the second in command sees the pain that the king has with the lack of the princess being in the palace, and he says, I'll get up and I'm going to go find her. I love the king. The king's clearly distraught and in pain that his daughter's not here. I'm going to go on a mission to reunite the daughter with the king. And after many, many years of seeking out this princess, with all these different types of ascents and descents and trials and tribulations and successes and failures, he finds her, and then she gets lost again, and he falls asleep, and all this, right? Gets to a desert, and in the desert he finds a giant, and then he's a giant that he's the king over all the animals, and he's trying to make him have despair, and he sends him to his brother, who is the king over all birds, all flying creatures, and he also rejects him. And finally he meets the third brother, who is the king of all of the winds. Wind, breathing. And let's see what he says to him. This is a quote now, word for word, out of Sipurei Masiyot. ודחה אותו גם כן, והוא הפציר אותו גם כן, ואמר לו שלמענו יקרא שיבואו כל הרוחות, וישאל אותם וקרא אותם. This third brother also rejected him, and he fought and he tried to get him to say something, right? It's for all the sake of all of the winds. Please call all of the winds and ask them. And he called them. Uvahu kol haruchot, and all of the winds came. V'shal et kulam, and he asked everybody, where is the princess? Where is this palace, right? The viceroy knew that there was a palace with gold and silver and all that, right? And he just doesn't know where it is. So he's asking the king of all the animals. You're a giant. You know all the animals. Do any of the animals know where this palace is? No, it's nothing like that. Push them away. Go talk to my brother. He's the king of all the birds. All the birds fly from bird's eye view. They can maybe see it. They know the map of the world. Push them away. Finally comes to the king of the winds, this third brother, this third giant, and he forces him to get all of the winds together and ask the winds if the winds know where this palace is. And he asked everybody. None of the winds knew of this mountain with the fortress. So now this giant says to him, don't you see that they're telling you stories? This place doesn't exist. The animals don't know of it. The winds don't know of it. That was really scary. I thought the bus ate your car, but he went up on the sidewalk.
Should I move it?
No, I think you're good.
Yeah.
So they said, right, you're telling nonsense. You were told nonsense. Everybody told you that this castle in this mountain exists, and here you have proof from all the eyes in nature that it doesn't. And he started to cry a lot, and he says, "Ani yodea sheyesh lo bevadai betoch kach ra'a sheba od ruach echad." This viceroy, the second in command to the king, that's trying to find the princess, he starts crying his eyes out, and he says, "I know for sure 100% that it exists. I know it does." And all of a sudden, while he's crying his eyes out, fighting and saying, "I know it exists," another wind appears. And he's got this giant, right, that's in charge of all of the winds, starts to get angry at this wind. Why didn't you come? Why are you late when I made a decree for all the winds to show up? Why didn't you come with the rest of the spirits, with the rest of the winds? I couldn't make it with the rest of the winds because I had to take a princess up to a mountain with a fortress on it. Sorry. And there was a lot of joy there. That's the words out of the story. Let's see what Rav Bezenson has to say about this. It's known how much Rebbe Nachman held the stories of Sipurim Masiyot on a high level. And specifically the first story, the story of the Bat Melech that went missing, the lost princess. This story, welcome to Israel, guys. This story is Ke'en Maftech V'kod Likanes El Sha'ar HaMasiyot. This story is the gateway that allows you, so to say, the key that opens up the rest of the Sipurim Masiyot, the rest of the 12 stories. V'kol Sheken L'Sod HaGeula, and even more so, it opens up for us to be able to understand the secret of redemption. The finding of the Bat Melech, this princess, is the seeking and the searching and the finding of each individual on the Yichud of Hashem. Yichud HaKadosh yesh lo im yotzro b'Dveikut v'idbodedut. How much do you have a deep relationship with Hashem? How much are you seeking that out? How much are you trying to find that? How much are you developing it through all the ups and downs of life? And even when the giants tell you that it's not there, how much are you seeking out that deep connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu? And in a general way, on the future Geula, on the redemption that's going to come in the future, when the Shekhinah will come back to the Beit HaMikdash, which is, the Shekhinah is the daughter, the Bat Melech, and who's the owner of the house, who's the king? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Shekhinah left the house. The Shekhinah left the house, and it causes pain. Now see a wonder. How Reb Nachman hinted to the Geula, the process of Geula, in this story. The same Ruach, the same spirit, the same energy, spirit that took the princess to her place, is also the same spirit, the same Ruach that will take the second in command, the viceroy, the servant of the king, also to his place. What wind was it? The wind that's late. The wind that showed up last, that came after everybody else. This is a huge hint what's said in this book. This spirit, this ruach, this energy that was always there. It was always in our tradition. It was just hidden. It was hidden and concealed. Why didn't we have breathwork so emphasized throughout the generations? Because it was taking care of what it had to take care of. It was resting in different foreign places. Now that it finished its job, taking care of the giveret, of the woman, now that the Shechina is getting re-emphasized and brought back to the home, so now the Ruach, that same spirit comes back to pick up the Viceroy, meaning you, the one that's seeking out the Shechina, the one that's seeking out the connection to. You're seeking out ways to unify the Bat Melech, the princess, with her king, to take her back to the king. That same energy that took the princess to that place is the same energy that's going to take you to unity as well. For your success, your alignment in life. It's going to come out of there. Continues at Dibur Dikdusha Deinu. Rebbe Nachman says, speaking, holy speech, meaning talking in Torah and Tefillah and Irat Shamayim, is very lofty, is very precious. Because Dibur Dikdusha, holy speech, is the aspect of Shechina, the presence of Hashem, Idgalut Malchuto Ve'emunuto Yitbarach, the revelation of the kingship and the emunah that we have in Hashem. V'hu b'chinas rucho shel Mashiach, that's the spirit of Mashiach, the wind of Mashiach. Ruach HaKodesh, which is 1/60th of prophecy, divine inspiration, which is Tchiat HaMeitim, which is resurrection of the dead, which is Yichud Kucha Brichu Shchinte, the unification of Yud Kei Vav Kei and Adnut, meaning the transcendent light of Hashem from beyond creation into the world that I'm living in creation. Ma'aflagat Shivchei Koach HaDibur B'Kedusha, from understanding how much Rebbe Nachman says what holy speech can do for a person, what level holy speech is on. And it's very easily understood that whoever invests in or v'ratzon, light and will, la'arbot b'diburim torim, to increase more pure speech in the world according to your ability, v'ktzat me'ever la, and a little bit past that too, meaning you work on your holy speech and you even go beyond working on your holy speech to reach further than what you think you can do. A person who does that, that tries to increase pure speech in the world, is as if you're breathing air from Hashem Himself. All of the different breathwork techniques you could ever have are only to get to that level, that you're pulling your breath directly from God. All of the breathwork practices you could ever do is only to get to that level. But what we're taught in first grade, in kindergarten, right, physical breathing, helps us a lot to get to that level. Ad sham ruach moshlim, right, just physically breathing the basic level that we were ever taught as human beings, without any depth to it, has the ability to help us get closer to breathing from Hashem. Ad sham amru moshlim ruach hakodesh ze Mashiach. Right, the Ruach HaKodesh, what's divine inspiration, what's the spirit of Kedusha, of holiness? That's Mashiach. But the physical breathing is the material of the Mashiach. How do you want Mashiach to come redeem you without his white donkey? What's his white donkey? What's his material? How can he show up in life? By way of your breath, by way of your holy speech, by way of your alignment. Mashiach's coming, but he needs you also in the world to want him and to try to bring more of that light down and to live in that same way. And when we start to do that, we make it much easier for Mashiach to show up. Bezat Hashem Yitbarach. Next time we learn, we're going to be learning about the main student and the mouthpiece of Rebbe Nachman, which is Rebbe Natan of Breslov. Bezat Hashem, we'll learn and have a whole class dedicated to Rebbe Natan, and then another class on Rebbe Nachman, Micherin. We're going to go through all the students. Then we get into the Malbim, and then we get into our generation, our last generation of rabbis that were living in the past few years. Bezat Hashem Yitbarach. I'm excited, very excited for all of this, because once we finish this chapter, which is, we're only a few pages, we're about 15 pages away from finishing this chapter, we're going to have a whole section on prayers connected to breathing from Rebbe Nachman. And when we get into the 4th chapter, and we're going to get into the most important part of the book that everybody's wanted so badly, and it was smartly put by the authors after 162 pages of understanding the Torah and the Tefillah. Now we can actually start to get into actual breathing with techniques and tips of how to do it. So we don't have too much left. We are on page 133. The practical aspect of the book will start on page 165. And the book goes all the way to 190 something, right? So, B'ezrat Hashem, we have a lot of good Torah cut out for us. We have to be patient, and we have to know that it takes time to get there, B'ezrat Hashem.